Hey guys, welcome back to another new video. So this video is going to be a book haul, and I didn't buy these books all together. I bought them over a period of time, like over 2 months or so. So they were all bought in batches, but then they are accumulating, and I was planning to shoot a book haul for like the longest time, but I couldn't. So I'm just going to show you all the books together, and without any further ado, let's get into the video. So I'm not going to read all of the summaries that of the books that I'm going to mention in this video. Otherwise, the if I am to mention all the summaries, then the video will be too long. So I'll leave links to the books in the description box, and you can check them out if you want to read the summaries. So moving on to the first book in this series, we have Chanakya's Chant by Ashwin Sanghi. Actually, I bought all the books of Ashwin Sanghi from the Bharat series. No, not all the books. I didn't buy Sialkot Saga. I actually bought it, but the seller failed to deliver it to my house, so I'll just have to buy it some other time. So for now, we are starting with Chanakya's Chant, and I have started reading the book, as you can see, and I've read only a small part of it. I'm at page number 56 at chapter 4. So once I finish this book, I'll definitely post a detailed review. But for now, just to give you an idea what this book is about, as you can see from the title, this book is about Chanakya, and I think you all know about Chanakya because all of us had his name in our history classes. He's known for establishing Chandragupta Maurya at the throne of Mauryan Empire, and he's also the greatest political strategist in ancient India. His work as Arthashastra is very well known. So this story dates back to 340 BC, and it's shown how Chanakya fleds his hometown and then goes to seek higher education and then does all the great things. He even manages to, devise a strategy to fight Alexander the Great. And then an analogy is drawn, and it's shown that in modern day India, a person named Gangasagar Mishra, who is supposedly modern day Chanakya, and he's also equally clever, and he's mentoring a strong personality, a woman whose name is Chandini. So there will be some kind of connection between the past and the present, and that is how that's what we'll come to know when we read the story. Up next, we have The Krishna Key by Ashwin Sanghi. This is also from the Bharat series, and this is about Krishna, as you can see, and some as I figured from the synopsis, it's about some secret in Dwarka, and which is related to which is called Krishna's most prized possession. And the main protagonist of the story, the main character, the protagonist of the story is Ravi Mohan Saini. He's a professor, and he has been accused with the murder of his best friend, who was an archaeologist. And so now he has to clear his name, and for that he has to go through the Indian mythologies and all the ancient things, and then decode a script. I guess I read it somewhere. Yes. Anyways, Krishna was there in like the ancient times. Krishna was supposed to be living about 5,000 years ago, and he was referred to as the blue god, and he helped humanity. And then there was a promise that he'll come back in the dark age, which is also known as Kali Yuga, and Krishna will be reborn, and that will be his last avatar. So there is another man who thinks that he is the last avatar of Krishna, and he commits, like, he's a serial killer, and he's doing the killings in the name of God, saying that he's the last avatar of Krishna. And then Professor Saini also has to clear his name because it's said that he's innocent, and so he digs into the several mysteries of ancient India, and he travels from Vrindaban to even Mount Kailash. So yeah, basically this is a typical Ashwin Sanghi book where you can get a quite a great mixture of history and fiction and mythology. So if you're into that kind of stuff, I think you'll love this book because this book is quite famous, and in fact I have heard some of my friends say that this is the best book in the Bharat series. So let's see. Up next we have The Vault of Vishnu by Ashwin Sanghi. This is also from the Bharat series. And I'm not quite sure what this book is about because I just went on and bought all the books in this series. I didn't read the summary of this one. So it says that there is a Pallava prince who travels to Cambodia to be crowned king. And then there is a Buddhist monk in ancient China who treks south to India searching for the missing pieces of a puzzle that could make his emperor all powerful. Then there is a pre Neolithic tribe who fights to preserve their sacred knowledge. And in the temple of Kanchipuram, a reclusive scientist deciphers ancient texts. So, this is basically typical Ashwin Sanghi stuff again. We have ancient stuff, decoding puzzles, and scientists, and Indian mythology, all of that stuff. So I guess I love this one too, but I don't know. Let's see. I have not read any reviews about this one yet, so I don't know what's the general opinion about this book. The next one that I have here is Keepers of the Kala Chakra. Keepers of the Kal Chakra. Kal Chakra as in the Wheel of Time. So I really love the title because, and I'm intrigued about what it has to say about time. But again, I haven't read the synopsis, so yeah, I don't know. But that's it. This was the Bharat series. I don't have the Sialkot Saga, like I told you. The seller wasn't able to deliver it, and I have to buy it separately. Anyways, now moving on to the other books that I bought and I have to show you for this haul. And I really have some very exciting books with beautiful covers, but unfortunately, two of the books which have not arrived yet are hard covers and they have beautiful covers. They belong to the fantasy genre. It's one of the genres that I haven't delved into yet. So I'm quite excited about finding out how fantasy is. Like, yeah, I even don't read that much of young adult fiction. I read some young adult in the past. I forgot the name of the book, but anyways, there was one or two books. It was a duology, I guess. So that was my young adult reading. I'm more into crime and thrillers, but I want to branch out and like see what other genres have to provide. Anyways, let's see the next. The next book that I have over here is Curious Charms of Arthur Pepper. So this one is quite interesting and is very different from the other books. So the thing is, I actually save the books that I want to read in my Amazon wishlist, and I just keep them saved, and I keep tracking like when the price goes down or when I'm getting a deal or an offer. I just add them to my cart and buy them right away. So the time gap between saving the book, like actually reading the summary, saving the book, and actually buying it later on is quite some time. It can be a 1 month, it can be 2 months, something like that. So by the time I buy the book, I forget what the book is about. But this one I remember because it was quite unique. So there's this man named Arthur Pepper who is very like disciplined and he follows his routine every day. He wakes up at 7:30 a.m. and does all his work in a routine manner. But on the death anniversary of his wife, he finds out a charm, like a bracelet, I guess, or a necklace. I forgot that. But he finds out a charm, and behind the charm there is a number. So he calls up the number and someone picks up the phone. So from that single charm, Arthur Pepper starts his quest and finds out about the secret life of his wife. And so there are a total of 8 golden charms, and they had been together, like they had been married for 40 years, and Arthur Pepper didn't know about the secret life of his wife. After that, I have two Agatha Christie books over here. So, as you know, my no book haul is ever complete without buying an Agatha Christie. I literally want to own the entire collection. I have quite a lot of books, but I don't have all of them. And I haven't read all of them. Also, I have read some of the books from when I was in school. I used to borrow them from the library. So, I don't have some of the books, but I have read them. But I want to own the entire collection. Anyways, this one is The Secret of Chimneys, and this one is Death on the Nile. I honestly don't know the synopsis because I just pick up Agatha Christie books randomly and then I read them because I know that I love them no matter how like every plot is different and every plot is like so nice, even though there are some minor details here and there that I might not like, but I just like them all. I don't know, I'm so biased when it comes to Agatha Christie. So this one, The Death on the Nile, says that there is cruise down the Nile on a river steamer, and it definitely sounds like an Agatha Christie setting, a cruise down a river retreat. It's a civilized retreat miles away from civilization. Perfect setting for an Agatha Christie crime. But then something has to happen, but the tranquil, warm darkness of an Egyptian evening can change fast when the air is thick with hot passions and cold malice. So there is some deadlier thing cooking behind the scenes, even in a retreat. So yeah, this is something that I've seen in Agatha Christie books. The Secret of Chimneys, actually, I read this book back when I was in school, but I forgot the story. And I wanted to reread it, and I also wanted to own a copy. I don't have the copy, I had borrowed it initially, so I bought it now. And now I want to reread it and review it. So yeah, I remember slightly there was something some theft or something happened when I forgot. I don't want to give you any spoilers, so I'm just not going to say anything. So there is Anthony Kate suspect that an errand for a friend would place him at the center of a deadly conspiracy. So I don't want to give you any spoilers because I remember the story in bits and parts, but I don't know if I end up giving you spoilers, so I'm just not going to say anything. So these are the two Agatha Christie books, The Secret of Chimneys and Death on the Nile. So let's see what else we have. So this one right here is Big Little Lies by Leanne Moriarty. I have read Leanne Moriarty's Truly Madly Guilty, but I haven't posted the review yet on my channel. I'll just shoot it sometime soon and post it. I think I have the footage. I had shot the review, but I haven't edited the video. So anyways, I read that book, and I had high expectations from it, especially because I read some good reviews, but I didn't like it that much. I won't say that the plot was not good. The plot was good, but the ending could have been a bit different. I don't know. I enjoyed it. It was a good read. It was gripping, but it was not that great. I'll give you a detailed review in some other video. But anyways, this one is Big Little Lies. So I I honestly read the synopsis a way back. So you must be wondering why am I doing this video when I don't know the synopsis. Anyways, just bear with me, please. So there is this woman named Jane who moved to town, and she's a single mother. And when she moves to town, she meets two other women who have their children studying in the same school as Jane's son. I guess she has a son. Yes, a son. Or a daughter. Wait, no, son. So their children are all studying in the same school together, but then something happens, an incident happens. After that, rumors start spreading, and then after a point of time, no one can say what is the rumor and what is the truth. And what intrigues me is the last line of the synopsis, which says it was going to end in tears, but how did it end in murder? So this is very intriguing, and I really want to read it soon. And even Stephen King said that a hell of a good book, funny and scary. So yeah, this is even a very famous TV series on HBO. I don't know if you have watched it or not. So moving on to the next one, we have, yes, this one is also very highly anticipated read. I haven't read it yet. It won the Pulitzer Prize of Fiction in 2017. It's The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. So basically, this is about slavery. A slave girl named Cora, who was a slave on a cotton plantation in Georgia, and she was a little girl when she came to the plantation, but then she was approaching womanhood, and the struggles with womanhood and being a slave in a plantation. I guess that's what the author is trying to show here. And then Cora meets this boy named Caesar, who is also a slave, but he's recently brought to that cotton plantation in which Cora is in. and Caesar came in from Virginia. Yes, from Virginia. So together they decided that they are going to escape the plantation, and that's what this story is about. So let's move on to the next book. I have two books from Ruth Ware. One is The Lion Game and then In a Dark Dark Wood. So both of these are by Ruth Ware, and if you have seen my previous video in like I have reviewed The Woman in Cabin 10 from Ruth Ware, and it was after that that I decided I want to read some of her other works. So I went on and bought these two. But there is another one which is quite famous. It's called The Turn of the Key. I haven't bought it because, frankly, because it was not on discount and I know I'm going to get a better deal if I wait. So I decided to wait, and now it's out of stock. Anyways, I'm going to buy it later on. So the Line Game is basically a game that these girls used to play when they were like in school. Yeah, I forgot the name of the girls. Anyways, they used to play this game called the Line Game, where they have to make the most outrageous lies, and the one who made the most convincing lie was the winner. Until one now they have all grown up and they live in different cities. So the main character of the story is Isa, and she's currently living in Salton with her baby daughter, until one day she receives a text message that says, "I need you." So she leaves everything behind and she goes back to Salton because they used to play this game, the Lying Game, until one day in Salton something is found on the beach. Yes, now after 17 years of hiding the truth, something terrible has been found on the beach. The friends' darkest secret is about to come to light. So that's what the synopsis says, and this book is quite a fat one, like compared to this one, which is thinner. Next, we have the In a Dark Dark Wood. This is about like Claire and Nora, who are friends, and then they haven't met each other for a long time until out of the blue, Claire invites. It's Claire who invites Nora, or Nora invites Claire. I don't know. One of them invites the other, and they want to reconnect, and so they meet each other at that party, but something goes wrong and there is a secret involved. Things are going to come out, and I don't know, I have heard that this is quite a slow read and the book is not as fast paced as the others, but anyways, I still want to read it because I want, when I start reading books by a particular author, I have this tendency to read other works as well and review them. So yeah, that's why I bought this book. Now I have something different, which is Bicycle Dreaming by Mridula Koshi. I actually wanted to buy not only the things that have happened by Mridula Koshi, but then again, due to the COVID situation, the seller was not shipping to my pin code. So I went on and bought this one instead. I really don't know what the summary is, but I'll leave a link in the description box so you can go and see it. But I've heard that Mridula Koshi is a brilliant writer, and I am really looking forward to read this one. The next one in this book haul is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, and I think you all must have already watched the movie, but even if you haven't, just go and watch it if you are not a book reader. But if you're a reader, I think you should like read this book before watching it. In my case, I have already watched the movie. I rarely watch movies before reading the books, but I really couldn't wait for this one because I heard such good reviews, and at that time I used to save money and then buy books, and at that time I didn't have enough budget to fit this book in that month, so I just went on and watched the movie, and after that I forgot about reading the book. So now finally I got this one. I love how tiny this book is. Like, it's really tiny. It's like the size of my hand, and yeah, if you have seen it, you already know what the plot is. Basically the wife disappears on, like, there's a couple, Nick and Amy, and the wife disappears on the morning of their anniversary, and then Nick informs the police. But then when the police comes and does the investigation, all clues point out that Nick is the one who's responsible for Amy's disappearance. But then Nick keeps telling them constantly that he's not the one, and his wife is just trying to frame him. That's the main plot, and after that I can't really tell you anything more because I'll just be revealing you spoilers if you haven't read it. But just please at least watch the movie or just read the book, but don't miss this one. So the next one I have is Artemis by Andy Weir. If you have watched The Martian, which is like quite a famous movie, then that's also from a book by Andy Weir named by the same name, The Martian. I haven't read or watched Martian because of the same reason. I want to read Martian first, but again, due to the COVID situation, The Martian was not available on my pin code at my pin code, so I just went on and bought Artemis. I heard that the Artemis is not up to the mark, as like people love The Martian more. But it's a good thing that I bought this one first, because when you read the better book, you don't usually love the other book. So I'm reading the other book first and then I'll move on to the better one. Anyways, this is Artemis is the name of the first city on moon where the population is 2000, and there is this girl named Jazz Bishara who is like one of the criminals, and she lives in one of the poorer parts or like the dangerous parts of Artemis. But then her fortune is about to change only if she can cook up the perfect crime, and but that involves her going to a very dangerous part and then again coming back alive. So this is basically a science fiction, I guess, or yeah, science fiction plus thriller. So let's see how this goes. I haven't read science fiction like in some time. Yeah, the last science fiction I read was Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, and this will be the next one, I guess. Moving on to the next book, we have The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. And I have already reviewed this book. Actually, when this book came, like a week or two back, I couldn't just keep I know that there is so much hype around this book, but I just wanted to read it because the storyline was so good and it's intriguing. So I have already reviewed this one in detail. I'll leave a link in the description box. If you want to know about the full review of this book, you can just go and watch that video. But I'll just give you a basic knowledge of what the plot is. So there is this woman named Alicia Berenson who is a painter, and she has a beautiful life with Gabriel, who is her husband, and he is a fashion photographer. But they have a good marriage. But one fine day, when Gabriel returns home from work, Alicia shoots Gabriel in his face 5 times, and then after that, she doesn't speak a word. She goes completely silent, and because she doesn't plead that she didn't commit the crime, she was sentenced, instead of being sent to prison, she was sentenced to a psychiatric facility. And then there she meets Theo. Theo is her psychotherapist, and Theo is determined that he's the only one who can treat Alicia and make her talk. So that's what the plot is, and like you'll find out whether Theo can make Alicia talk or not, and if she talks, then what is the reason that whether she was the person who shot Gabriel or not, and if she did, then what is the reason. So this book is basically it revolves around a Greek tragedy, and when if you know the Greek tragedy, then I didn't know the tragedy before I read the book. If you know the tragedy, maybe you'll be able to guess a few things or so. So the next one we have is another book based on Greek mythology. It's The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Sorry, it's so much reflecting. Yeah, I think you can see the cover now. So it's a beautiful red book. I honestly forgot the summary in detail again, but it's about Achilles and Patroclus. The story is told from the point of view of Patroclus, who was a young prince and he was exiled to the court of Achilles' kingdom. And they grew up together. They were very good friends, but as they grew up into like when they reached adulthood, Patroclus fell in love with Achilles, but then Achilles heard that Helen of Sparta has been kidnapped, and so he leaves his kingdom and goes to rescue her. But then Patroclus is feeling insecure because he doesn't want to lose his bond with Achilles, so he also goes with him. So that's basically what the story is about. But Patroclus goes with him, little knowing that the years that follow will test everything they hold dear. So, I haven't read any book based on Greek mythology, So The Silent Patient only had a small part where it was mentioned that it's revolving around this Greek tragedy, but this one is like entirely based on a Greek mythology. So yeah, I'm excited about this one. Up next, we have The Nightingale by Christine Hanna. It is a historical fiction, and the setting is that of World War II. So there are two sisters who don't live with each other. They live in two different cities, and then they had to reunite because they had to survive the situations of the war and their struggle and how they deal with it. I think that's what the story is about, because it says it is a heartbreaking, beautiful novel that celebrates the resilience of the human spirit and the durability of women. It is a novel for everyone, a novel for a lifetime. Honestly, I have heard very good things about this book, and I haven't read books that revolves around World War II. I wanted to read the book Thief, but I had already watched it, and at that point I didn't know that it's based on a book. So yeah, but I haven't read any books as such. So I know I keep saying that I haven't read this book, I haven't read that book. That's only because I am so much into crime and thrillers that I didn't read any other genre, but I want to change that. It has to change. I need to read other genres as well. So yeah, that's why I bought a collection of different books that are belonging to different genres and different types of writing. So the next book that we are going to talk about today is Lost Girls by Robert Colker. So this book is actually based on a series of murders that happened in USA and they are unsolved. This book is supposed to be like from the point of view of this journalist who like has this detailed account of what happened during those murders and what investigation took place. So now we have the last book, which is quite a handful because it's huge. And here's the cover. The cover looks so pretty. The name of the book is The Prairie of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. And this is a huge book. As you can see, there are a total of 848 pages. And this is a fantasy novel. It has dragons. It has is a world of its own. I have heard that the world building in this book is really nice. So I'm quite excited to read this one. It's all about magic and dragons and kingdoms, and it's very. I read the synopsis, and if you read it, I'll leave a link in the. I'll leave an Amazon link, so just you can just click on the link and go over there and read the summary. And I bet that you'll feel like it's so similar, like not similar. It has this Game of Thrones vibe, and I'm like all in for anything like Game of Thrones. So I'm really excited for this one. I even want to start annotating my books, and this is the first book that I want to annotate. My annotation flags are supposed to arrive tomorrow. I hope they are going to be delivered tomorrow, and then I can start reading this book. This is going to take me some time. I want to read it slow because I want to take in everything. You know, the best thing about fat books is that you can spend more time with the characters and in the story, and it will just not end right now. So I think that's the best part about reading a fat book. But anyways, these were the books that I got in the past few months. And yeah, I think these were the books. I have covered all the others. Yeah. There are two more books, but they haven't arrived and they are really pretty. They are hardcovers. But I'll definitely be posting the reviews of each of these books as I finish them. So guys, that's it for today, and thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And if you think that my videos are something that you love to watch, please share them with your friends and support me by subscribing to this channel, and I'll see you in the next one.